Picture this. Picture this. Picture this. Picture you're back in high school, or say you're already in high school. I don't know how old you are. I don't know you. Now think to yourself, when you were in high school, you probably did something embarrassing. Maybe something a little bit cringe. Maybe everyone laughed at you, pointed guns at you, and shot you saying, "You're an idiot, you're an idiot." And they all made fun of you, saying you couldn't eat dairy. Little dairy boy, can't eat dairy. And they would throw milk at your face until you, Now imagine if you had those moments. Wouldn't you want to rewrite them out of history? What if you had the chance to go back in time and change things and stop that stuff from ever happening, keeping your high school scenario perfect? Well, you'd have to give a call to the Minutemen. When I was a kid, I watched a lot of Disney. Over here in Canada, it was called the Family Channel, and they'd frequently have some of their Disney original movies playing on the channel itself, and I was always super excited for them. This one wasn't one of the ones I was super hyped about when I was younger, but it is one I remember watching really late at night, and it kind of stuck with me for some reason. But like, not much more than the general idea that it exists. I don't seem to remember a single thing about it at all, though, so I guess we're gonna have to take a peeky, like a little looky. Now, here's the one thing I remembered about this film. It stars Jason Dolley, who you may know better from Good Luck Charlie or his receding hairline. You're probably wondering, Jim, why are you watching a Disney movie today? Well, the movie's just started. We have the most important thing underway. It's Summerton High School, and go Rams. Now, there's one thing you might notice in this movie, that there's a lot of, like, parts that randomly speed up for absolutely no reason. Like during transitions, characters will just speed on through really fast. I'm not sure what that's about, but it's really funny to me. Scorch! So we're mainly introduced to our character, Virgil Fox, who is known as Verge for some reason, and he's friends with Derek, with a boogie.
Boogie fever.
And in comes Steph, their friend that's a girl, and she's not like other girls. She's a guy's girl. These are Hutu boys, they're girls' guys. She didn't want to try out for cheerleading. Derek told her to. She's a guy's girl. She's a girl's guy. Also, Derek's nickname is D-Rock, and I think that's really funny. Important to set up here, Steph is going to try out for cheerleading because D-Rock told her to, and D-Rock really wants to ace those football trials, so he told Verge not to embarrass him out there. Guy can't handle that embarrassment right now, Verge. You gotta be on your A game. Now, I can't seem to describe what Verge is at the moment, like his character trait. All I know is, but first, a little Boomba.
But first, a little Boomba.
You are so fucking funny!
So D-Rock kind of just like sucks at football. He's eating shit. His nerves are overtaking him. Verge is calmly just doing a little Boomba. And then Steph is doing her cheerleading. But D-Rock, he's stuck here, not sure what he's doing, having some trouble. So in comes a kid on a rocket car, because that's what happens in high school. If you've been there, you know. So the rocket car kid is Charlie Tuttle, described as D-Rock's neighbor, and a prodigy that's 9 years old and skipped a bunch of years for some reason. I don't think that can actually happen. And the coach describes him perfectly as
A real Einstein.
So Derek absorbs the power of bullying someone, hucks a football, and he gets that shot and knocks Charlie off. So then the crowd of like 20-year-olds playing high schoolers grab this 9-year-old and start throwing him around like crazy. The coach is just like letting them bully this guy, like no issue. And then Verge comes in to stop it, so they fucking throw him too. You might think this is a horrible amount of bullying, but it doesn't matter because now D-Rock's a cool guy. So for some reason, because he decided to show up in a rocket car, the bullies thought it was appropriate to dress him as a cheerleader and hang him off the ramp.
Go Rams!
Now, I don't know about you, but in any real life school, I think this is like grounds for like expulsion. Normally, like, right? Like, this is insane. This is so dangerous. What if they fell and died? Charlie also reveals he built the rocket car because going on the bus is embarrassing, and this is somehow less embarrassing. I don't know either. I have no idea where he came up with that one. So, did you like that prologue? Do you like where our story's going? Fuck you. It's 3 years later now. Okay, this is like a minor thing, but for some reason, Charlie waits till he's out of the car to begin speaking, and that's who does that? Like, speak in the car. He's just sitting there like, we've arrived at our destination. Now we can converse. So after 3 years, it seems that Virgil's friends no longer speak to him because, you know, they let him get bullied, I guess. Steph and him now exchange longing glares from the distance, while D-Rock gives him a nice little nod, while wrapping his arm around Steph to show, uh-oh, they're dating now. Also, this is an important thing to know for, like, later, but Charlie really likes his cat, okay? Like, really likes his cat. He's figured out how to talk to his cat. A lot of his science depends on his cat. There's a big cat. He likes his cat. I don't know. That's supposed to be weird for some reason to like an animal, but he, like, you know, he enjoys having a cat. On the way to school, they kind of instantly reveal their character traits as Charlie wants to use his powers for good. He wants to do cool science stuff, and Virgil wants him to do something useful with his powers, which in Virgil's eyes means being cool and popular. They also come across Big Zeke.
Big Zeke!
Big Zeke's aesthetic is basically a 50-year-old going through a midlife crisis. So Virgil now doesn't talk to any of his friends. He's basically ostracized by them, but not just that, he's He's ostracized by the entire school, now clumped in the corner with the nerds. He's a nerd guy now. He's one of the nerdy kids. And speaking of which, these fucking nerds, they lied about pudding.
Pudding actually makes you grow taller?
It does.
Yeah, that's why you're so tall.
They go on this huge thing about how pudding makes you grow taller. Pudding doesn't make you grow taller? What? This movie lies about pudding. I can't trust this. Little side note here, everyone's hair in this movie is absolutely ridiculous. It's 2009 Disney, so I don't know what else I should have expected, but it's fucking hilarious, okay? So here comes Jeanette, who kind of seems to have some sort of infatuation with Charlie, which is weird because he's very young. Like, the whole idea is he's, like, younger than everyone else, and Jeanette's supposed to be the same age as everyone else, right? So there's, like, this weird age gap. Why did they give the fucking young one a love interest? Either way, Jeanette likes to call Charlie different bird names throughout the entire movie.
Hey, hummingbird. Hey, chickadee. Sure thing, Puffin. He's right, Kookaburra. Good morning, magpie. Spit it out, bluebird. What's new, cockatoo?
And when the character Chester asks her why she does this, she simply says, because I like birds. Didn't answer the actual question. Also, what the hell is this handshake?
Congratulations, buddy.
So Verge seems to be very into Steph, who was his friends when they were kids, and now he has feelings after kind of being broken away from that group for 3 years. He also chooses to lead with a brilliant line about how pennies will be shiny if you leave them in soda.
Ah, soda. I hear if you leave a penny in this stuff for a week, it comes out, like, shiny.
Who the fuck starts a conversation like that? I just sat down.
Either way, none of his efforts matter because she's currently with D-Rock.
Hey, yo, D-Rock!
Good God, how close are they to the mountains? Zeke is just like carving his name into like a weird like folder or something. Zeke's strange. Zeke's weird. He doesn't fit in. Have you ever seen Zeke without that hat? Also, apparently, painting nails is very bad in class, as Jocelyn learns.
Jocelyn, would it be too much to ask that you not do your nails while I lecture?
I hardly think that's any of your business.
Also, by the whiteboard here, you can see they're just learning about Nikola Tesla for some reason. Like, this isn't even like a class. This is just like a Wikipedia page of Nikola Tesla, and that's about it. That's so funny to me.
It's an AV club emergency. I need Virgil Fox right away.
So I live in Canada and went to like kind of different schools, I guess. But is AV Club a thing? I never had anything like that. Like, but is it just a club for kids to do AV stuff? I guess I don't know. This all seems so bizarre to me. I feel like I missed out on like pop culture style schooling because I wasn't schooled in America. You know what I mean? So Verge then follows Charlie and is greeted by an army of nerds. It appears Charlie's become some sort of a general in his time in the AV Club. So Charlie shows Virgil this like a blender animation of like a circle moving forward like that, and that's apparently time travel. That just that alone, we did it. Time travel. It's done. We solved it, baby. So Virgil rightfully so doesn't believe that Charlie's, created time travel because, he's 14. He's like a little kid and no one's done time travel, and it's a little bit ridiculous to believe in that. But the weird thing is when bringing up things that make him younger, he talks about calling underwear underpants. And I never knew that was like a kid adult thing. I thought that was just like a choice thing. If underwear underpants, garage, like whatever the fuck you want to say. I didn't realize it was like an age thing. You hit 14, you're like, underwear. All right, this is starting to really bug me. Why is Jeanette Charlie's love interest? She looks like she can babysit him. Why does he need a love interest? I'm so very confused by the thought process here. So in order to do their whole time travel thing, they need a hardware dude. One that's morally questionable and probably won't question any of the stuff they do at all. And that's where they lead to Big Zeke. Big Zeke! Also, Killersaurus.
Killersaurus!
Also, I don't think Big Zeke knows he's in this film. Like, he's just kind of there. He's just hanging around, doing his best, I guess. And he seems to hate cats.
Your cat is freaking me out.
Also, Virgil has a sister, and there's no point for her to exist other than to weirdly flirt with the people who are way older than her. This happens like a few times. She just shows up in this film. Is this somebody's niece? Were they permitted to join because it's like nepotism or something? Who is this person? Why are they in this film? Also, big character trait, Big Zeke hates people.
Do that again, and I weld you to the crosstown bus.
All right, let's everybody just calm the fuck down.
So after deciding on doing time travel, Verge says since he gets the first pick, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to win the lottery, which I guess sounds like a sound thing to do with time travel. Hey, easy money. Problem is, I'm pretty sure you have to be 18 to win the lottery, so how the fuck is this going to work? This actor only plays vice principals or like, I guess in Community, a replacement dean for the dean, because they look exactly the same. But like, he's always in like kind of the same role ultimately. Also, the principal of the school is totally okay with kids being bullied because that's how things should be. Bullies on top, bullied on bottom. And he's okay with that because he doesn't want to upset the natural order. This man should be in jail. That's a criminal. Right there. That's a criminal. But who cares? Give me some of those pretzel nubs.
All right, scooch over to your left. I'm going after the pretzel nubs.
So anyways, they decide to build the time machine underneath the football field because they have a big open room that they got there for their new club, the Back to the Future Club, or whatever the fuck they named it. It's supposed to be a Back to the Future fan club. It's like a joke. It's like, oh, time travel. Now, I like Allie and AJ as much as the next guy, but this kind of feels like anti-montage music, if I'm being honest. It's kind of getting the wrong vibe. Also, Nixon jump scare. They also robbed this, like, the faculty lounge's microwave with none of the teachers noticing. Not a single one. They should all be fired for incompetence, okay? None of these teachers are doing their jobs right. Now that they've pieced everything together, it really seems like all you need for a time travel device is some materials from your school and a little bit from the local dump. It's really not that hard, and honestly, it takes about maybe a couple days of time. Get on it, kids. Get to work. So yeah, they invented time travel. Scratch! So in order to test the time machine, because everyone's feeling nervous, for some reason Verge and Zeke think it's appropriate to huck a cat in there, an extreme act of animal cruelty, which thankfully for them only froze it partially, which could have, easily killed it. But hey, whatever, it's funny. Let's kill this guy's cat he loves so much, because we're good friends. What the fuck is wrong with these people?
I don't know.
Steph seems to be in a rocky place with D-Rock, but I don't know how that's happening. D-Rock is the king of romance, being as his only actual romantic thing he said is, no, I'm not cheating on you. But since they're on the rocks, it's time for our boy Verge to slip on in through those cracks. By the way, never do this to someone in a relationship. Don't just, like, jump in and be like, my time to shine. Verge. This is our main character, our hero. So, judging by their backstories, Derek seems kind of like an evil person. Like, at all times. I'm not sure how him and Verge were ever really friends.
Remember that time I almost drowned?
Because Derek shoved the nozzle up your
Yeah.
Like, this is attempted murder. How are you friends with this man? But either way, they seem to act like it's impossible for them to be friends anymore because Verge was bullied once. So why would Steph and D-Rock ever talk to him again, right? Like, that's a danger to their social standing because he was bullied one time. For no reason. So Zeke has this grappling hook for some reason, and he's very defensive about it.
You making fun of the hook?
So a good lesson to learn, don't make fun of the hook. I'm sure this will never come into play again. So they do their first time travel and prove that yes, they've done it. They fully actually were capable of creating time travel and are able to go back to a previous state and return with no problems. And then Charlie does a little dance. So putting their plan into motion, on the way in the past, they purchased a lottery ticket because the whole plan is to get the winning numbers and get that big W. But uh-oh, I was fucking right. If you're not 18, you can't buy a lottery ticket. So they give a street performer money to go buy the ticket himself and say, we'll come back tomorrow to actually get the ticket from you because we're running out of time because time travel reasons we have to get back fast. Also, they're being tracked by science guys. That might be important note. Some science fellas are like, ooh, we got them on our stitch. Upon returning the next day to get the lottery ticket, uh-oh, Robot Man has won the lottery. Also, it seems like the street performer who, like, just covers himself in silver and then does the robot motions, he almost seems in this world like an actual robot. He is making robot sounds and people are treating him as if he is a robot. I'm confused and scared. They're talking about the secrets of time travel like super open inside this boys' locker room, while they're also saying that if anyone finds out about this, they'll be in severe trouble. So maybe don't yell it out loud in the boys' locker room at gym. Just a thought. Charlie is still adamant on finding an important use for this machine, saying that Virgil once told him to make something useful and now wants to find a useful reason for it. Virgil, however, still wants to use the machine as a way to become popular because that seems to be the only thing on his mind after losing his friends in his first year. One of the people that sits at their lunch table, Chester, another nerd, goes to look for his clothes and uh-oh, they're gone. He's been bullied. Now Chester has to leave the room without any clothes and then gets stripped naked because for some reason that's okay. Chester now naked in front of the school, ostracized and bullied. This basically is going to ruin his entire life. The vice principal walks by and does not care because again, there's a social system involved. But it's at this moment that they come up with the idea to go back in time and help Chester, preventing his embarrassment from happening and becoming true heroes. Starch! Verge comes up with the name Minutemen and then states the Minutemen must use their powers for truth and justice. Everyone else hates the name and the explanation is really weird.
We, us. The all-important minutes in time.
How did you get Minutemen from that? While prepping for the trip to go back in time to help Chester, Jeanette shows up because she found their flyer about the club being a Back to the Future fan club, and she loves Back to the Future despite never seeing it. This seems to be Jeanette's entire character trait, by the way, that she's just kind of dumb, and that's about it, and she likes birds. That's the entire character, and likes Charlie for some reason. I could not even begin to tell you why. Either way, Jeanette's now the person at the chair that makes sure they get back safely, and all three of them are able to go back in time without a problem. She also hates the outfits they wear and summons Corbin Blue to get them new outfits.
Where did you get these? My dad just bought Ski World.
Go Rams! Also in front of Jeanette, the three of them argue like the children they are, and honestly, it's pretty powerful.
I you. No hitting. No hitting.
Next time I get into any sort of debate with someone, I'm simply gonna run up to them and just punch them screaming you're wrong. So they go back in time and confront Chester in the most creepy way possible before giving him a new set of clothes.
I got myself some new threads.
So now everyone's curious who these snowsuit guys are who just showed up and saved Chester out of nowhere. While the vice principal's pissed at them because they just body checked him for absolutely no reason. Really weird, but that's his entire vendetta originally. I like that this restaurant's called the Burger Hour. I don't know, that's really funny to me. Introducing Eugene von Hoserberg, the most important character in this entire movie. If this movie's taught me one thing, it's that the name Eugene von Hoserberg is very powerful. The popular girl that D-Rock's invested in and kind of seems to want to, you know, have an affair with, starts fucking with Eugene because I think the point is to bully him, and then she embarrasses him in front of the entire Burger Hour restaurant. Hoserberg drops the food everywhere, and then he gets Eugened.
Go. Put him down, Eugene.
So they Minutemen him too.
Way to go, Eugene.
Corbin Bleu is once again woken from his eternal slumber as the Minutemen start helping people all around the school, and the principal's trying to get back that order of bullies over nerds and trying to kill them, I guess. Also, now they're being followed by spies, and how do they know to look for these specific people? If the science guys are having trouble tracking down who's doing the actual time travel, how can these random spies know the exact 3 individuals involved with this? Like, one of them's following Charlie, and another thing I noticed here is Charlie just brings his cat, like, everywhere. He brought it to the time travel place, he brought it to Virgil's house earlier in the story, and now he's just, like, taking it on a little walk. It's kind of cute. I kind of like it, but why do you always have your cat with you? Oh, and this spy bought like a single banana for some reason at the store. That's suspicious. I'd be suspicious of you for buying 1 banana. The people they saved from bullying now seem to be kind of getting an attitude and becoming kind of assholes. Like they're becoming bullies now because they've been saved of bullying, which makes absolutely no sense. But Virgil's more upset about the fact that, you know what? No one cares about him. Steph gets accepted into UC Belmont, which is good. Is that good? Yeah? That's good. That's good, apparently. She's also a massive Snowsuit Guys fan, which is what they call the Minutemen because no one knows what their name is. Charlie then reveals that he robbed NASA to figure out how to make a time machine, and this leads to a giant outburst in the cafeteria where they hide in open sight because they're stupid. After revealing this, they decide to stop using the time machine for a bit to really let the heat die out is the idea. But then Steph gets hurt. Oh, if Steph's hurt, there's no UC Berkeley for her. That's the name, right? Was it Berkeley? Brentworth? Bumpington? What the fuck was the name? I forgot already. If only the Minutemen could help Steph, but then NASA would get mad. Verge really wants to help Steph, but Charlie's being smart and saying, no, NASA's gonna get us, we're gonna go to jail. So Verge then says, we're the Minutemen, not the Weenie Men. And that seems to be just enough to convince Charlie. In their trip to save her, they have this massive plan where they sit there, and then Zeke randomly steals a car. The principal causes a car accident. Eugene kills Steph, but Big Verge was there to save her this day.
And we're called the Minutemen.
Verge, stop trying to make Minutemen happen. It's not gonna happen. Chester is fully turned into a bully, now bullying the people that used to pick on him. And the vice principal is very upset that the class system they developed has been, you know, fucked up. So, like a true tyrant, he gets upset and takes Chester to the office to yell at him because he dared not get bullied for the rest of his life. Charlie then reveals this is probably a bunch of, like, catastrophic chain reactions because Chester doesn't get in trouble normally, and he can't believe that Robot Man sued an old woman. If these are the only catastrophes of time travel, I think we're gonna be okay. After saving her a single time, Steph immediately figures out that they're the Minutemen, basically, and then Verge just casually lets it slip that it's time travel. So great job, Verge. Great job keeping that secret. But who cares? It's D-Rock time!
Hey, yo, D-Rock!
So D-Rock's under a bunch of pressure to win this big game so he can, you know, be the big football guy and move on with his life to be giant football hero. But at this moment, Chester decides to streak through the game, ruin D-Rock's concentration. He fumbles the ball. Everyone hates him. He ruined the game. Someone shoots him in the back. That doesn't happen, but it could happen. You would believe me. So now D-Rock wants help from the Minutemen to stop the whole Chester streaking fiasco. And he knows about the time travel because Steph told him for some fucking reason. D-Rock also states that he feels like the nerds don't know their place anymore, which is... what the hell is wrong with you? He then also states to Verge he wishes they could be friends again, but what's been stopping you? Scorch! Charlie's realizing that this is damaging the space-time continuum, so actually time travel is pretty bad, not just for, you know, Chester being mean. It's that the entire, you know, fabric of space-time is collapsing, but that's life, whatever. None of that matters, because Virgil wants friends. Also, again, they reference Zeke's hook. They really want us to remember the hook. We also get this really weird shot of them all jumping in the portal. I don't think we needed to see that. If, like, one at a time, them just hopping in there silently. That was weird. That was weird. I didn't like that. Anyway, after saving D-Rock from his embarrassment, Verge takes a tape that he filmed in the prior timeline and brought it with him in the jump so it wouldn't get edited when they went back to prove that there was a time period where Verge did not save D-Rock and D-Rock fumbled and failed. He shows this to prove that he's a Minuteman, and it seems to once again make D-Rock want to be his friend again like the old days. So then D-Rock invites him to a party, and you know what? It's time to party Disney style. You know what that means? Lights on, baby! Steph reveals that she's sick of being popular and it's a ton of work and something she doesn't like doing. She just wants to be one of the nerds, she's not like the other girls. She hates popularity. Also, Verge seems to have forgotten to cancel his plans with Charlie, so Charlie stalks him to the party and sees it happening. That just looks really weird. However, Verge ditching Charlie doesn't stop there, as now he ditches him again because he gets a call from Steph, who is crying because D-Rock and her are having a hard time. So he goes to her house to comfort her in the only way he knows how, climbing up her window. And his excuse for doing so? Well, why didn't you go through the front door? Oh, what fun would that be? If you ever think like this and you climb through my window because you're like, oh, it's fun, I'm gonna throw you into like a fire and cook you for breakfast. So Steph is devastated because she caught D-Rock cheating on her. So Verge helps her in the only way he knows how to. He brings her pasta shells.
No, I'm much like pistachio nuts, but in the rush to get over here, I accidentally grabbed a bag of pasta shells.
And now there's a magic sinkhole. And now D-Rock confronts Verge saying, hey, go back in time and get rid of my cheating because I didn't want to cheat. She kissed me first, therefore wasn't cheating. He then says, Verge, if you do this, we can hang out like the old days. You mean the old days when you threatened to drown him? What was that about? So while Virgil's thinking about whether he's going to help D-Rock or not, if it's the right thing to do, he's kidnapped by the FBI. Just when you think our heroes are trapped stuck in the FBI, Virgil gets them out of there because he took a semester of government and got a B-.
I took a semester of government. Got a B-.
People said I was dumb, but I proved them.
And now, like every Disney movie, Zeke, Charlie, and Virgil all have a falling out because Virgil only cares about being popular. So the other two just leave and are pissed at him because every Disney original movie needed friends to fight at some point in the film so they can make up for the finale. So because Virgil's feeling depressed, he's decided to accept D-Rock's offer and is going to help him erase that timeline from happening. Also, there's this really weird scene where like Jeanette just appears in Charlie's room, like vibrating his fucking bed before revealing that she's just watching him sleep. It's really creepy and I don't like it. Also, Charlie sees that graph he showed Virgil before, but now it's moving fast and flashes red, which apparently means a black hole is forming. So Charlie then tells the FBI about the black hole and makes fun of NASA at the same time.
Oops.
The black hole then semi-forms and no one sees it and they calmly walk over it like nothing happened. Also, it's now time for the rock around the clock dance, which is like 50s themed. And despite Virgil being like, oh, I'm gonna help you, D-Rock, and he's just kind of here with Steph at the dance. But what the fuck happened here? How do we get to this? There's also a king and queen of this dance for some reason, despite it being like a 50s themed one. What are they king and queen of? The fucking 50s? Either way, Virgil and Steph wins because Virgil went back in the past and stuffed the ballot box because he's a good guy. Just when Steph and Virgil look like they're about to kiss, D-Rock's like, hey, time to undo my cheating, let's go. And somehow people see this as them fighting, so they chase them to be like, oh, let's go watch a fight. I don't know how they got that one, but fuck it, I guess. However, while we're getting in the middle of this weird drama about D-Rock, Virgil, and Steph, none of that matters because Charlie shows up and says, hey, it's black hole time. Also, the CIA is here now. Weirdly, when the black hole opens, the first instinct of everyone is to run towards it and go look at it up close. And then later on, they're also just still staying like right next to it, staring at it. Go away! Run! Nothing says safety like a black hole. Either way, they decide that since the Minutemen are the only ones who have experience of time travel, they're gonna go back and they're gonna fix all this through the black hole. The vice principal rightly states, hey, why are we sending children back? They could die. Which is weird because he hasn't cared about children this entire fucking movie until right at this moment. But either way, they all drop it and still make the 3 children go save the world. The Minutemen get their big Avengers Assemble shot. They're being treated like celebrities. They're running towards the black hole and they're all confident and cool now. But also, please hurry. Everyone is about to die. Stop taking your time. Also, Amy's here again for some reason. Whose kid is this? Why are they in the movie? Get them out of the movie. Jeanette plants a kiss on Charlie, and I still don't know why they gave the youngest one a love interest. I really cannot begin to understand this at all. Verge has a moment with Steph near the black hole. It looks like they're about to finally give a big kissy to each other, and then D-Rock cock blocks him to say good luck for some reason.
Hey, yo, D-Rock!
Finally, the audience chants Minutemen. They've realized what the name of the heroes are. They know that the Minutemen are here to save them, and they jump together into the black hole. Then they die and the credits roll. No, actually, they land in a children's park for some reason. They fixed the wormhole issue in like seconds. Like, it takes 0 problems. I thought this was gonna be like a big climax. They're just like, beep, boop, beep, done, over, it's done. But Virgil realizes they're in freshman year when he was first bullied that exact same day. So what does he do? He takes off running to fix his past. Virgil once again proving that all he cares about in this story is being popular and his own life. So he's going to risk their entire survival because he wants to save his high school career. While Virgil gets prepared to undo his mistake, as he calls it, of helping Charlie, Charlie reveals that this is his favorite day of all time because this is where he met a very close friend of his. Because while this day was embarrassing, it is what led to their friendship, and Charlie views it as something very special, while Virgil kind of looks at it with shame. Also, going back in time reveals that D-Rock was a big asshole and was part of the bullying, so he, you know, is just kind of the worst guy ever and probably the main villain of the entire movie. Hey, yo, D-Rock! They now have to run to the wormhole because apparently it's closing. They'll be stuck here forever. On their way running, Charlie trips and just kind of gives up and says, it's too late. Go on without me. This all stops when Virgil shows up in the rocket car that he stole from young Charlie, I guess. Finally, Virgil is thinking of someone other than himself. He reconciles with Charlie and Zeke, and they drive away. Scorch! Now they race to the black hole, but first, some funny Disney driving moments.
Dude, those animals are so fucking funny. They make me want to merge without looking.
Oh, it looks like they're not going to make it, but Big Zeke with the hook. Big Zeke's got the hook. He's raring to go. And just when it looks like they're not going to make it, Verge shouts the same line I've been thinking the whole time I've been watching this movie. They make it back to their timeline with an exploded car. They also make it back to a point in the story before their first time travel. So, do you remember when the French situation happened? Yeah, they're there now. So basically, all the time travel stuff they've done in the movie, all that development, nothing of that happened in the real world now. Virgil calls out Derek ever so lightly, and he kind of admits that he was the jackass, and that does nothing. Nothing happens. They just now hate each other. Charlie smooches Jeanette despite that never happening in this timeline, so he kind of just, you know, attacked her. But, you know, it's okay, because she liked it. Verge gets talking to Steph and tells her exactly how he feels, how much he really cares about her, in the middle of her being in a relationship. That's right. In this timeline, he's gonna make her the cheater. And then Charlie decides to instead focus on teleportation, showing that nothing has changed. We're gonna make another wormhole probably, and none of the story has actually mattered. So, did you learn anything from this Grable? What I learned is you can make an entire movie full of some character development and progress and things like that, and then throw it out the window because instead, we only want Virgil to have development, and everyone else is exactly the same as the start. The statements of the principal, saying that, like, the bully should be in one place and the nerd should be in another, almost gets proven right, as that's what happens when the established timeline goes back to normal. So, the nerds are now just going to get relentlessly bullied, and nothing's gonna change, and that's okay. The Minutemen helped nobody. Nobody was helped at all. The only difference is, I guess, Virgil learned to be a nicer friend. So, ultimately, nothing happened. No one's better off for it. And it's a horrible resolution. And I think the most important thing is during the montage, they saved a girl who drooled all over her desk. Won't anyone think about the drooling girl? What's gonna happen to her now? She's gonna go with her entire scholastic life being the drool girl. You ruined her life. Minutemen, you're on the wrong side of history. Well, I hope you enjoyed. I have no idea why I made this video. I guess I just wanted to watch Minutemen. If you want any more talky guy videos like this, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Call me a cuck, I don't know, I don't really care. I have been Jimmy Bim. You can find me on multiple platforms, mainly this YouTube channel. You can also find me on twitch.tv/JimmyBim_, or other things like Twitter and all that, but who gives a shit. If you ever think you're getting bullied too much and you need to change your standing, don't, because you stay within your social constructs for life, or else the fabric of space-time will break and we'll all die. So be brave, Bimmers, stay bullied, and don't complain about it, because that's what Disney wants.